freedom. God, you answered those prayers. 78 years ago, God, you opened up the floodgates of heaven and rained down paratroopers, showering mercy on the oppressed and justice upon the oppressor. You made your seas swell with sailors and soldiers, crashing waves of liberation upon beaches and fields of sacrifice. You filled the skies with airmen, dropping payloads of punishment upon the persecutors of liberty-loving landscapes. Almighty God, thank you. Thank you for the women and men of the greatest generation, those beautiful heroes who proved in liberating strife, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. Lest we forget, we now stand upon these sacred shores 78 years later. Oh God, carry us upon the winds of their legacy.
In all our synagogues, we are in prayer to celebrate the gift of the Torah, or the Pentateuch, which we also call the Bible. This Torah, which our prophet Moses received on Mount Sinai, and which we read from precisely today, the Ten Commandments. They are the foundation of Judaism, both on the religious plane, moral, and social, with a humanitarian face to ensure the triumph of the fundamental values of justice, truth, love, and solidarity. The Jewish community of Caen has already blessed here all these brave soldiers on Memorial Day, the Sunday, the 29th of May, 2022. By our prayers on this day of the Jewish Pentecost, we pay tribute to your courage and to your devotion. You young American soldiers, rest in peace, and may your souls be blessed. Honneur à vous, jeunes soldats américains, vous qui reposez en paix ici, à Colleville-sur-Mer en Normandie, loin de votre terre natale. Par votre bravoure, ce débarquement du 6 juin 1944 a été un acte d'héroïsme. Il a permis aux forces alliées de libérer la France, puis l'Europe, qu'Hitler voulait assujettir par son régime nazi destructeur. En ce 6 juin 2022, jour voué au souvenir, les communautés israélites de Normandie ne vous oublient pas. Dans toutes nos synagogues, nous sommes en prière pour célébrer le don de la Torah, ou Pentateuch, que l'on appelle aussi la Bible. Cette Torah que notre prophète Moïse reçut au mont Sinaï et dont nous lisons précisément aujourd'hui les 10 commandements, ils sont le fondement du judaïsme à la fois sur le plan religieux, moral et social, avec une ouverture humanitaire pour faire triompher ces valeurs fondamentales de justice, vérité, amour et solidarité. La communauté israélite de Caen est déjà venue bénir ici tous ces valeureux soldats pour le Memorial Day, le dimanche 29 mai 2022. Par nos prières, en ce jour de la Pentecôte israélite, nous rendons hommage à votre courage et à votre dévouement. Vous, jeunes soldats américains, reposez en paix et que votre âme soit bénie. I now introduce Army General Mark A. Milley, U.S. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Mesdames et Messieurs, le général Mark A. Milley, chef d'état-major des armées des États-Unis.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining us here today on this solemn occasion, the 78th anniversary of the landings at D-Day. And Ambassador Bauer and the prefect and the mayor and all the other dignitaries, the general officers, senior non-commissioned officers, all of you, thank you for being here. And most of all, thank you, the veterans of Normandy. Thank you, the veterans of World War II. Thank you to the greatest generation for the peace that you gave us. On this day, almost exactly 78 years ago, the invasion of Normandy began. Actually last night, with the dropping of paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne Division, the 101st Airborne Division, and the British 1st Airborne Division. The road on top of this bluff was just cleared moments ago, 78 years in the past. The first vehicles were loaded with ammunition. They began moving inland right about now from the beach. And it signaled that Europe would soon be free of tyranny. Almost 5 years before D-Day, Nazi Germany invaded Poland. The first bomb was dropped at 05:20 hours on the 1st of September, 1939. And the people of Western Europe hoped that they would not be next. But the world reacted too slowly to Hitler's war machine. In a mere 9 months, the Wehrmacht destroyed European democracies and replaced that with authoritarian, fascist, Nazi rule. 9 months of destruction. It would take the Allies almost 5 years to defeat. And it would take decades for Europe to rebuild. The invasion of Poland wasn't met with a unified defense. The world did not come to Poland's defense. Armed shipments and offers of aid didn't happen. World leaders thought they could appease Hitler and his war machine. They thought they would be safe. They would be wrong. They ignored the Anschluss. They ignored Sudetenland. They ignored the proxy war in Spain. They ignored the fascist invasion of Ethiopia. And then there was Poland. Aggression left unanswered always leads to more aggression. It took 5 years, 5 long, hard years, to defeat Nazi Germany and fascist Italy. And it took millions of people suffering hardships and death, along with the industrial-level murder of 6 million Jews in the Holocaust. The cost was borne here at the beaches of Normandy 78 years ago. Ordinary people from all walks of life came together to serve the cause of liberty. Early in the morning, on 6 June, as the German defenders on these bluffs looked out to sea, they bore witness to the first plumes of black smoke as 700 Allied ships disembarked 137 Allied soldiers from several different countries that would storm the beaches of Normandy and relentlessly turn back the Nazi tide. As the smoke grew nearer, the German defenders saw a sky blackened with Allied aircraft. Then the shells from 16-inch guns on the battleships would rain down shrapnel and death and destruction, breaking the morning silence. Inbound on this beach were 6 United States divisions, 4 British divisions, and 1 Canadian division across the beaches of Normandy, Omaha, Utah, Gold, and Juneau. They combined to make the greatest airborne amphibious assault in human history. Over the course of the next 8 weeks, between 6 June 1944 and the beginning of August, 19 U.S. divisions, bigger than the entire United States Army today, almost twice the Army size of today. 19 divisions fought in those 8 weeks. And 236,386 Allied soldiers were killed or wounded in a mere 8 weeks. In the 24 hours of D-Day, just within about a 60-minute drive from here up and down the beaches, 4,414 Allied troops gave the last full measure of devotion, and 2,501 of them were Americans, just on that one day. Buried here are 3 Medal of Honor recipients, Brigadier General Teddy Roosevelt Jr., Jimmy Monteith, and Frank Perigord. These Americans and so many others gave their lives for more than a slice of earth, thousands of miles from their place of birth. They gave their lives so that others would be free. And they gave their lives to create a better peace. Between 1914, the beginning of World War I, and 1945, the end of World War II, 150 million Japan and fascist Italy. But we are again seeing death and destruction on the European continent. 1,000 kilometers from here, they too, right now, he said on this day, over the radio, he said, "Almighty God, our sons, the pride of our nation, this day have set upon a mighty endeavor, a struggle to preserve our republic, to preserve our religion and our civilization, and to set free a suffering humanity." 3 years ago, I was here at the 75th anniversary of D-Day. And I asked one of the veterans in his wheelchair, a veteran of the land, he's with the Big Red 1, 1st Infantry Division, what his biggest lesson was from World War II. Give me some sort of tactical advice on tactics of movement and maneuver. He did not. He teared up in his eyes, and he looked at me from his wheelchair. mighty endeavor. This mighty endeavor to ensure that we will continue the peace, maintain that great peace for another 78 years. Let not those who lay here be the last witness to a time when allies come together to defeat tyranny. Let us all band together as allies, partners, and friends. Let us continue to stand shoulder to shoulder as an alliance in the common cause of freedom and liberty. Let us continue to stand together for the next century and ensure that peace remains on the continent of Europe. A generation of men and women did not grow up and suffer the scourge of war. Let us guarantee to these veterans here today, to both living and dead, that we will carry on with their cause. Our peace was paid for in their blood, and that which is paid for in blood must never be given away. Let us recommit to what that Normandy veteran told me. Let us recommit to never let it happen again. May God bless France, may God bless the United States of America, and may God bless the veterans of Normandy. Thank you.
Thank you, General Milley. Merci, Général Millet. I introduce to you the Mayor of Colleville-sur-Mer and President of the Intermunicipality Isigny-Omaha, Monsieur Patrick Thomine. Le maire de Colleville-sur-Mer et président d'Isigny-Omaha Intercom, Monsieur Patrick Thomine.
Mesdames et Messieurs les vétérans, Madame l'ambassadrice des États-Unis d'Amérique, Monsieur le chef d'état-major des armées américaines, Monsieur le sous-préfet, Madame la sénatrice, Monsieur le conseiller régional, Mesdames et Messieurs les maires, chers collègues, Monsieur le surintendant du cimetière militaire américain, Monsieur le président de la Best Defense Foundation, Mesdames, Messieurs, c'est avec un grand plaisir que je suis à vos côtés ce matin. C'est pour moi un honneur et une très grande joie de vous accueillir à Colleville-sur-Mer, dans ce cimetière militaire et d'émotion. Ce 6 juin, d'avoir à nos côtés tous ces vétérans venus honorer leurs collègues morts au combat sur cette plage. Venus aux compagnies d'armes de venir délivrer notre continent de l'oppression. Un éternel recommencement. Depuis 3 mois, comme celle que nous avons connue en 1939. Depuis notre libération en juin 1944, nous commémorons chaque année, à la même date, notre liberté. Nous enseignons à nos petits-enfants la liberté, l'égalité et la fraternité. Aujourd'hui, ce devoir de mémoire que nous avons si souvent mis à l'honneur sur notre territoire devient une réalité marquante et tragique pour toute une population. 78 ans ont passé et personne n'a oublié que c'est ici que s'est joué, un jour de juin 1944, le destin du monde et que chacun aujourd'hui doit se souvenir du fracas des armes qui s'est abattu ce jour-là sur nos plages et nos campagnes. Les croix blanches de nos cimetières militaires, tels que celui que nous foulons, nous rappellent chaque jour que cette paix reste encore quelque chose de fragile et qu'il ne faut jamais oublier la chance que nous avons de vivre en Europe dans cette paix presque durable. C'est cela que nous célébrons chaque année à l'occasion des anniversaires du 6 juin 1944. Des liens de cœur et d'amitié se sont au fil des années, des anniversaires, des commémorations, des discours et des accolades tissés, noués, ici même sur nos plages, dans nos cimetières. nous n'oublierons jamais l'histoire de ces hommes, la communion qui a pu exister avec la population normande tout au long de ces dernières années et la joie dans leur cœur de pouvoir partager ces moments avec vous. Pour tous ces vétérans, de voir rayonner aujourd'hui cette plage, leur rappeler que leur mission, leur sacrifice avaient servi et leur devoir accompli. Hier, nos aînés étaient tous frères d'armes. Aujourd'hui, à travers notre présence ici, nous sommes tous des frères de mémoire. À toute la nation américaine qui partage avec nous ces instants de recueillement, à ces femmes et à ces hommes qui ont payé le lourd tribut de ces journées héroïques, nous voulons exprimer le message de l'amitié et de la gratitude. Nous sommes venus ici, par ce dépôt de germes, commémorer, nous souvenir et porter à travers le monde ce message. Oui, il y a toujours un possible chemin pour la paix, pourvu que l'on n'oublie pas ceux qui, hier, ont combattu pour l'emprunter et faire vivre la liberté. Vive les États-Unis d'Amérique, vive la France, vive l'Europe. Merci de votre attention.
Merci, Monsieur le Maire. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I now present the President of the Best Defense Foundation. Je vous présente le Président de Best Defense Foundation, Monsieur Donnie Edwards. Mr. Donnie Edwards.
Good morning. 78 years ago today, the view overlooking Omaha Beach was very different. Rather than an open sea, Omaha Beach led to a sea of uniforms. Uniforms worn by courageous men united by one thing, the desire to guarantee liberty and freedom for all. D-Day marked a day hundreds of thousands of ordinary people, not just from the United States, but also from different parts of the world, would set aside their differences and band together for their values and ideas. Values and ideas that are very much alive and well today, thanks to you. To you veterans, look around and tell me what you see. I tell you what I see. I see a free Normandy, I see a free France, and I see a Europe that is a beacon of liberty, hope, and justice. I see a world that looks back at the events 78 years ago as a starting point for what we achieve today. For your efforts, if it weren't for the sacrifice of thousands of others, the world we live in will be a different place. Thousands died on that eventful day, but nevertheless, they did not die in vain. The fact that we are all here today is a testament of that fact. Notwithstanding this, events commemorating past events such as this one are significant indeed. Today, we remember what you all have gone through on that eventual day. We remember those who lost their lives fighting tyranny and oppression. We also remember the price that the free world had to pay in order to guarantee freedom, safety, and the security of Europe as a whole. And while I'm sure that France and the rest of Europe hold what you did in high esteem, I would also remark that values such as freedom, liberty, are not only fought for only one time. On the contrary, values and ideas will be challenged over and over again by those holding tyrannical beliefs. And when that inevitable happens, it will be our job and our duty to defend these values just as you did 78 years ago today. To our World War II veterans, we owe you a debt of gratitude for what you did for us. While we cannot ever hope to repay this debt, but what we can do, however, is live in a way that honors you and your peers. And while I cannot force others to live in this way, allow me to say that I will do my very best we will take it from here as your best defense to keep history and your legacy alive for generations to come. I promise you, we will never forget. To speak in front of you today, thank you and merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. Merci, Mr. Edwards. I now introduce the sub-prefect of Lisieux, representing the French Republic. Le sous-préfet de Lisieux, représentant la République française, Monsieur Guillaume Le Ricollet.
Chers vétérans, Madame l'ambassadrice des États-Unis, mon général, Monsieur le maire, Madame la sénatrice, Mesdames, Messieurs les élus, Mesdames, Messieurs. C'est un honneur pour moi de me trouver aujourd'hui à vos côtés, dans ce lieu chargé d'histoire et d'émotion, et de pouvoir m'y exprimer au nom de la République française. La plage d'Omaha et ce cimetière militaire américain de Colleville-sur-Mer constituent une unité à part en Normandie. Une somme de lieux uniques qui interpelle d'emblée. Ici, à quelques mètres de cette plage, et face à ces milliers de sépultures, que se traduit pleinement ce que fut la fureur des terribles combats engagés au matin du 6 juin 1944. C'est ici que s'affirment les valeurs qui étaient défendues et portées par ces dizaines de milliers de très jeunes combattants américains qui avaient mis leur destin au service de la libération des peuples. Et c'est certainement ici même que s'exprime le mieux la profondeur, la force et l'intensité des liens qui unissent les États-Unis d'Amérique et la France. Ces liens qui nous rassemblent remontent loin dans notre histoire, à commencer par la lutte d'indépendance qui donna naissance aux États-Unis d'Amérique. Puis c'est au cours des heures les plus noires du XXe siècle, au cœur des deux guerres mondiales, qu'ils se sont encore renforcés et enrichis. Ensemble, dans l'adversité, nous avons combattu et souffert pour les idées universelles de liberté, de tolérance, d'égalité des droits, de paix. Ces idéaux partagés qui sont le ciment de nos liens. En 1944, les hommes inhumés ici ont changé le cours de notre histoire et de l'histoire du monde. 78 ans après, nous sommes toujours aussi recueillis et émus autour de leur sépulture. Notre respect pour eux est profond. Notre fidélité à leurs souvenirs est sans faille. Notre volonté de les honorer est inébranlable. Ils sont la fierté des États-Unis d'Amérique. Ils sont aussi la fierté de la France. Cette terre porte leur larmes et leur sang. Cette terre de Normandie sera éternellement la leur. L'esprit et les valeurs portées par tous ces combattants du D-Day sont pour nous tous une source d'inspiration et d'ardeur nouvelle. Ces sépultures de combattants nous interpellent et nous obligent. Elles nous rappellent à nos devoirs, à notre responsabilité d'être toujours à la hauteur de leur sacrifice, de faire vivre en tout temps et en tout lieu l'idéal et les valeurs qui les animaient alors. Aussi, renouvelons ensemble notre engagement à ce que chacune de leurs histoires terribles et glorieuses continuent d'être évoquées et transmises, car ces récits font désormais partie du patrimoine commun à nos deux nations. C'est notre mémoire partagée, un bien précieux que nous voulons préserver et entretenir. Ces cérémonies sont pour nous l'occasion de célébrer l'amitié entre les peuples qui ont été engagés en Normandie en 1944 et de célébrer ensemble les valeurs pour lesquelles ces soldats se sont battus. Soyons fiers de l'héritage qu'ils nous ont laissé et soyons reconnaissants de la liberté qui est aujourd'hui la nôtre. Ces moments de partage et de souvenir autour d'une histoire et de valeurs communes font la force de nos nations et la richesse de l'amitié qui unit nos peuples. Il nous appartient de la faire vivre, il nous appartient de la transmettre. Je vous remercie.
Merci, Monsieur le Sous-Préfet. Thank you, Monsieur le Sous-Préfet. I now introduce the U.S. Ambassador to the French Republic and to the Principality of Monaco, the Honorable Mrs. Denise Campbell-Bower. Ambassadrice des États-Unis d'Amérique auprès de la République française et de la Principauté de Monaco, Madame Denise Campbell-Bower.
Good morning, cherished veterans, honored guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen. On June 6, 1944, Sergeant Claire P. C.P. Martin landed on Omaha Beach. As he was bringing his radio onto the beach, a tank near him was hit, and he was wounded in the face. Yet, he ran onto the beach and began setting up his radio. First Sergeant Cliff Stump landed on June 6th in a glider. D-Day was just the beginning for him. He fought on in other historic battles, including Bastogne and the Bulge. Staff Sergeant George K. Mullins also landed in a glider, coming down near Utah Beach on June 7th, and participating in the battle for Saint-Common. He went on to help liberate Brevard and Carentan. Coxswain Richard Dick Ramsey enlisted in 1943 at the age of 20. After a year of training, he was sent to Normandy for the D-Day invasion. It was his first experience in combat. He went on to serve in the Pacific, helping to take Iwo Jima and Okinawa. Staff Sergeant Jake Larson lied about his age to enlist in the National Guard at age 15 in 1938. When he landed on Omaha Beach, he was only 21, but he had been serving for 6 years. Richard Dick Rung was training to be a mechanic when he joined the Navy at 18. He served on Landing Craft Tank 539, bringing troops to Omaha Beach, then evacuating the wounded back to the USS Samuel Chase. Over and over, he crossed the dangerous shallow waters, bringing troops and supplies. Private Charles Shea was a medic assigned to an assault battalion of the Big Red One, the very first wave of June 6, 1944. He rescued drowning, wounded comrades under enemy fire, and he fought across Europe until he was captured in March 1945. These heroes who participated in the landing that day, 78 years ago, honor us here today with their presence. The forces that landed on the beaches of Normandy included 160,000 young men from all over the world. They left behind as many families and communities whose hopes went with them. 160,000 heroes who were heroic in answering the call to service, in sacrificing and fighting so that we could live in peace and prosperity. We live in the world they fought to achieve. As they faced the horrors of combat and loss, they knew the value of peace. We, who have had the luxury of living in peace and prosperity, owe to them a duty to remember what they went through and what price they paid. We have a duty to work just as hard for peace in times of peace as they worked for peace in times of war. There is hardly a stronger $300 for a just cause, the end of fascism and the liberation of Europe. We must remember what was at stake, especially today, as Europe finds itself again under the cloud of war and occupation. We owe it to that memory of those who rest all around us to ask ourselves what sacrifices we are prepared to make in our own lives for the cause of freedom. What we owe to those who made history here and determined the fate of Europe. The world they left us was rebuilt on solidarity, on shared sacrifices, shared values, and shared aspirations. After the war came the Marshall Plan, which was built on the recognition that we must continue to defend our values even during times of peace. This year, we celebrate the 75th anniversary of that great effort and our collective work to rebuild Europe. It is our duty, in memory of the heroes of this greatest generation that came before us, to fight for peace and to secure a better world for the generation that will come after us. I am honored to be here today to pay homage to all those who took part in the greatest military operation in history. To all those who have fought to end fascism and restore democracy, we thank you. And we vow to honor your sacrifices, not only in our words, but in our deeds. Vive la France, vive les États-Unis, et vive notre belle amitié.
Thank you, Madam Ambassador. Merci, Madame l'Ambassadrice. The benediction will be given by our U.S. Army Chaplain, Captain Vernon G. Snyder IV. La bénédiction sera donnée par l'aumônier, le capitaine Vernon G. Snyder IV, membre des Forces armées américaines.
People of the free world, go now in peace, remembering the sacrifice that has been paid by those who have gone before us. We stand now on a firm foundation of freedom, forged by the blood of our brothers and sisters who gave all so that some might live free. May God have mercy on we Americans. May God bring peace to this world as we continue to link arms with one another, pursuing liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Captain Snyder. Merci, Capitaine Snyder. We shall now conduct the wreath ceremony. As your name is called, please move forward to accept your wreath, as it will be provided to you by a member of the cemetery staff, after which you can move forward to lay your wreath. Nous allons maintenant procéder au dépôt de gerbe. Lorsque votre nom est appelé, veuillez vous avancer pour prendre votre gerbe qui vous sera remise par un membre du personnel du cimetière, après quoi vous pourrez avancer pour la déposer. U.S. Army General Mark A. Milley, representing the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the U.S. Army, United States Armed Forces. Représentant les états-majors de l'armée des États-Unis d'Amérique, le général Mark A. Milley. Monsieur Patrick Tomine, representing Colleville-sur-Mer and Isigny, Omaha Intercom. Représentant Colleville-sur-Mer et Isigny, Omaha Intercom. Mrs. Corinne Ferret, representing the French Senate. Représentant le Sénat française, Corinne Ferret. U.S. Army General Christopher G. Cavoli, representing the United States Army Europe, Africa. Représentant les armées, l'armée Europe, Afrique des États-Unis d'Amérique. Général favori. Mr. Cédric Louvelet, representing the Normandy region. Représentant la région Normandie, Monsieur Cédric Louvelet. U.S. Army General Stephen J. Townsend, representing the United States Africa Command. Représentant les armées d'Afrique des États-Unis d'Amérique, le général Stephen J. Townsend. Mr. Donnie Edwards, representing the Best Defense Foundation. Representing la Best Défense Foundation, Monsieur Donnie Edwards. Mr. David Chapman, representing Michelin, USA. Représentant Michelin, USA, Monsieur David Chapman. Mrs. Virginie Durr, representing Delta Airlines. La représentante de la Delta Airlines, Madame Virginie Durr. Monsieur Guillaume Loricollet, representing the Republic of France. Représentant la République française, Monsieur Guillaume Loricollet. Mrs. Denise Campbell Bauer, representing the United States of America. Représentant les États-Unis d'Amérique, Madame Denise Campbell Bauer. Mr. Edmund Ryan, representing the American Battle Monuments Commission. Représentant la Commission américaine des monuments de guerre, Monsieur Edmund Ryan. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as we render honors to the World War II veterans who are here with us today, and to all those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. We will never forget our debt to them. Remain standing for taps. Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez vous lever pour l'hommage aux survivants de la Seconde Guerre mondiale qui nous sont à côté aujourd'hui et à ceux qui ont consenti l'ultime sacrifice pour notre liberté. Nous livrerons jamais la dette que nous vous avons envers eux. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain of the U.S. Color Guard and officielle. Ladies and gentlemen, this ends this year's D-Day ceremony at the Normandie American Cemetery. Thank you for your presence here today in honor of those who fought to restore our freedom. We will never forget their sacrifice. Today's ceremony was supported by 3 generations of American citizen soldiers. The future, represented by our cadets, the present, represented by the members of our armed forces in uniform, and most of all, the shining examples of courage